Hello everybody, Senior Engineer MBA and investor, and in today's Saturday video, I want to take a look at CRISPR Therapeutics' latest earnings report. Of course, this is for the first quarter of this year, and I want to talk about this because I think CRISPR Therapeutics is one of the top CRISPR companies. Two, I think it's worth looking at the latest updates from this company. I will make an asterisk saying that it's not like some of these things are new. I think a lot of these things were reported separately over time, so nothing new as per se. But I think it's a good idea to summarize that, look at the highlights, and have a discussion point here on this beautiful Saturday here in Toronto. So wherever you are, hopefully it is beautiful. And just a quick note, guys. I know I haven't made a video since last Sunday. Like I said last Sunday, I'm going to keep these videos over the weekend and over weekdays. I doubt I'll be making any videos here and there unless we have a big news for the meanwhile. So I think that I'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks, even months. Mainly because one, I think it gives me a little breather here on my channel. I think some of you commenters have noticed that as well, telling me to take some time off here because they recognize making videos on YouTube on a daily basis is extremely tough and taxing on the body. But most importantly, and I think the following reason is literally the reason why I'm sort of spacing out my videos, is because there's limited news, right? Right now, things are looking stale. I mean, we're sort of in this weird market spot that I've made a couple videos ago. I said about how we're not in a bear market, we're not in a bull market, we're in this like lateral market, which is actually the most frustrating thing because you don't really know what to do. Do you want to buy more? Do you want to sell? If for some of you day traders or shorter time horizon investors types, that's why I'm saying it could be more frustrating potentially, the current market. So that's what it is for the frequency of videos. Again, if anything changes, I'll let you guys know. All right, so let's jump straight into it. So regulatory submissions for Hexacel, formerly known as CTX001 in the US for beta thalassemia and sickle cell disease. We saw that with Vertex latest earnings. EU and UK submissions by EMA and MHRA. Hexacel has been granted innovation passport under the ILAP from the MHRA, so that's good. Enrollment for dosing ongoing CTX110, which is of course their CAR T cell program, targeting CD19, okay, and CTX130, which I think more people have their eyes on. Okay, so they're continuing to dose and enroll more patients for both those programs and more. I wonder what happened with CTX120. Oh, maybe I'm mistaken here. But anyways, initiated clinical trials for next generation CAR T candidates 112. Oh, sorry, it was 112, not 120. 112. Okay, and 131. Okay, so they're gonna initiate the clinical trials for 112, which is what I was referencing to. Enrollment of dosing a phase 1, phase 2 clinical trial for a VCTX211 for treatment of type 1 diabetes. So let's take a look at that afterwards, where we stand with this, if we had any sort of update with this side of their programs. Of course, just a reminder, it's a partnership with ViaCyte, which is now owned by Vertex, the big pharma Vertex. Continues to advance lead in vivo program CTX310. This is for their heart disease, tackling heart diseases there with ANG PTL3 here into clinical trials this year with in vivo. So we'll see where we go with this. This is pretty cool, actually. There's the fact they're going potentially trials this year. That's pretty cool. All right, so in this first quarter, we continued strong momentum. We and our partner Vertex have now completed all regulatory submissions. Okay. In parallel, we continue to drive our portfolio programs, including initial client trials. Okay, so nothing, just summarizing these highlights here. Of course, we're looking at their different type of programs, different type of spheres in their company. Of course, sickle cell disease, beta thalassemia, falling into the first one, immunology being the CAR T cells program, and so on. Let's see if they say anything new here. Not really. Okay, so we move towards CTX 130. Okay, nothing new here. Okay, so CTX 130, its next generation CAR T cell targeting CD70, following the clearance of its IND application in February 2023. So yes, they had an IND accepted there, and clinical trials potentially by the end of this year, as they mentioned in their highlights. And of course, 112. Very excited for 112. I am, because it's whatever they did at CTX 110, which they've had for a while now, plus additional edits, right? So it's like a next level of 110, which they already have lots of data to base on. But I wanted to go over this regenerative medicine, or a fancy word of saying type 1 diabetes, basically. All right, so in March, CRISPR and Vertex and Viasat, which was okay, entered an agreement. Okay. All right. In connection with entering the agreements, CRISPR received 100 million upfront. Vertex. That's pretty good for a program that have yet to get any sort of data. $100 million more cash. That's pretty good. And an additional 230 if they achieve the milestones. That's pretty good. So 330 more, basically, assuming everything goes well, for a program that we have yet to get any sort of data, at least from the public side of things. CRISPR Therapeutics expect to move multiple programs utilizing in vivo approaches. The company continues to lead its in vivo. Okay, that's fine, but they didn't really talk about any sort of progress with type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is something I wish this company did more. Like, I understand the whole thing with the CAR T cells and immuno-oncology. I mean, that's a huge space. I mean, I don't have to tell you that. Everybody knows how how dire are we in need of something that cures potential cancers, or at least diseases and cancers, right? But type 1 diabetes is a big one. Think about all the people with type 1 diabetes, or even type 2, right? I know this is just type 1, but type 2 diabetes as well, and so on, that would pay significant amount of money, plus insurance, and obviously plus government funding and so on, to basically eradicate that disease from their body, right? Just think about it for a second. And the couple of celebrities that I follow on social media, that they have diabetes, and I'm like, these guys are gonna pay millions to get that fixed, right? I don't know if fixed is the right word, or cured, right? Now imagine what governments are gonna pay for their own population, because you gotta remember, insulin is not cheap, right? This is not a cheap thing. I understand that's basically what they have to work with. We're now at least the last few decades, anyways. I remember my grandfather actually had, because he obviously passed away, and rest in peace there. But he actually had diabetes, and I remember that when I was a kid, and I saw the whole thing with insulin and checking your blood glucose levels and all that. I just found that crazy. That was like in the 90s, right? Can't imagine someone living all their life like that. Like, just think about what are they willing to do to eradicate that, right? So, moreover, here the couple of leadership changes here. New CFO in the company, which is a good sign, because you definitely need a good and strong CFO in these times. This is the time where you have to manage the cash balance sheet and so on, right? This is the time when things are going well in terms of cash balance sheet. This is when it matters, not when things are bad, because when things are bad, it's because you failed to protect your cash balance sheet when things were going well, right? So, or operating income statements and so on, right? So, cash position, speaking of balance sheet, cash position, it looks like they have a total of $1.8 billion. That's pretty good. So slight increase from the last time they reported anything. So that was by the upfront payment they received from Vertex for their latest non-exclusive license agreement. I believe that's with the type 1 diabetes, what we just took a look at. Look at revenue. I mean, revenue, there's not much to talk about here. I'm not even going to go over that. R&D expenses, they actually decrease. R&D decrease. That's really interesting, guys. I mean, that is something to take a look at, right? That is something to take a look at. Even the G&A expenses, that's really interesting. The company decrease in R&D. I'll let you guys take that with you as a takeaway here, but that is really, really interesting. So here it is, guys. CRISPR Therapeutics earnings report looking good for this company. I mean, as a summary, I've always said it multiple times throughout the past year, really. All eyes are on Hexacell or CTX001, right? No one really, like, to be blunt, no one really cares about the other programs. They just are looking at this single program, Hexacell, because it's more than just about the program. It's about the potential of CRISPR, a CRISPR-based therapy, right? Even though the company only owns 40%, which is still good, but they only own 40%, 60% is owned by Vertex. Although they only still own 40% of that program, it would still be the first ever CRISPR-based therapy approved potentially by the FDA. And I think that's going to break grounds. I think the stock is going to go way up, way up. I mean, talking about the stock price, I mean, the stock had a little boost here after the earnings report. You're looking at, about 37, 35% growth. But again, if you look at the past 5 years, if you bought around the peak in the early 2021, which is actually when we started these videos here, you're still significantly down. So I really think this company is undervalued. I've said it many, many times. Again, this is free information. It's not meant for financial advice, guys. It's just education information for free. But if you ask my opinion, I think this is severely undervalued. And lots of experts, not just in this vertical of genomics as CRISPR, but outside of it, have been saying it for a while. So we'll see what happens, guys. I really think there's going to be something very exciting coming for this company in the next few months as the FDA potentially approves the Hexacell CTX001 program. I'll end this video like this, guys. As always, like this video if you found value, subscribe if you're not, and let me know what do you guys think. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's Sunday video. Take care.